quiet conversations, private deliberations, and now a decision that has sent shockwaves across North America. Canada, one of the United States' closest allies, is ready to retaliate in ways that could reshape the US economy for decades. Commerce between these two neighbors has long been a source of stability, but tensions have been brewing behind the scenes. Canada's recent actions might fundamentally alter this relationship. This is not merely a bilateral dispute. Billions of dollars in trade are at stake, with global economic repercussions expected. This economic clash has the potential to disrupt industries and livelihoods. What is Canada planning, and why are US industries so alarmed? Let's break it down. The seeds of this conflict were planted years ago, but recent tariff threats from Washington have pushed Canada to the edge. Sources close to Canadian authorities reveal that behind closed doors, plans for a wide-reaching retaliation have been in development. This isn't just about taxes on steel and aluminum. It's far more significant. The US has imposed or threatened tariffs on Canadian goods ranging from forestry to agriculture, citing trade imbalances and protectionism. Canada views this as an attack on its economy and sovereignty. Canada's response strategy is comprehensive. It targets core areas of the US economy, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and consumer goods. Early reports suggest Canadian officials are considering tariffs on American-made automobiles, orange juice, and iconic products like bourbon. These choices are deliberate, aimed at industries in critical swing states. Canada is sending a clear message. It isn't merely reacting, it's strategically pushing back to inflict maximum impact. Trade between the US and Canada is massive. In 2023, the two countries exchanged over $800 billion in goods and services. Canada is the largest export market for US products, while the US is Canada's top trading partner. These numbers represent jobs, livelihoods, and entire industries. If Canada's retaliatory measures take effect, US exports could face billions in losses, with ripple effects on supply chains and local economies. Canada's leaders are considering more than just economics. They are making a political statement. By targeting industries in states like Michigan, Florida, and Kentucky, Canada highlights the political ramifications of trade disputes. This is a high-stakes gamble for Canada, but it's also about self-preservation. Standing firm demonstrates to the world and its citizens that Canada will not be intimidated by its largest trading partner. For US automakers, Canada's plans are a nightmare. Tariffs on automobiles could disrupt the deeply interconnected supply chains that underpin North American manufacturing. Farmers are equally concerned. Canada is a major importer of US agricultural products, and retaliatory tariffs on corn, soybeans, and orange juice could devastate rural areas already struggling with rising costs and global competition. The effects extend beyond large industries. Small businesses dependent on international trade are also at risk. Although Canada has a smaller population and GDP, its significance in trade, particularly as the US's primary energy supplier, gives it leverage. If tensions escalate, Canada could restrict energy shipments to the US, causing upheaval in American energy markets. With winter in full swing, such measures could create severe challenges for consumers and businesses. This isn't Canada's first trade conflict with the US. In 2018, amid a similar tariff dispute, Canada imposed retaliatory tariffs on American steel, aluminum, and other imports. The result, US manufacturers and farmers felt the pressure, and public outcry eventually led to a resolution. Canada is now using that experience to craft an even more strategic response, willing to escalate further if necessary. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, was intended to bring stability to North American trade. But this latest conflict is testing its limits. If Canada proceeds with retaliation, it may face legal challenges under the USMCA's dispute resolution process, further straining relations and casting doubt on the agreement's future. For Canadians, this standoff is about more than economics. It's about national pride. Many view US trade threats as unfair and aggressive, and there is strong public support for the government's firm response. This backing gives Canadian leaders the political capital to take bold risks, even if it means short-term economic pain. This isn't just a North American issue. Other nations are watching closely. If Canada successfully counters US tariffs, it could set a precedent for global trade disputes, embolden other countries to adopt a more assertive position against American trade policy. At the same time, global markets prepare for potential disruptions. A full-fledged trade war between the United States and Canada may have serious consequences for global supply networks, commodity prices, and investor confidence. While the trade conflict centers on tariffs and conventional commodities, Canada is discreetly utilizing its huge stockpiles of essential minerals, batteries, EVs, and renewable energy technologies rely on minerals ranging from cobalt to nickel. Canada has historically been a key exporter of these minerals to the United States, but sources indicate that they are reconsidering export regulations. If Canada decides to restrict the flow of vital minerals to the United States or shift its supply to other countries such as China, American firms may be forced to seek alternate suppliers. This change would not just affect automobile and technology businesses. It might also hinder America's renewable energy transition, which is a key component of its global competitiveness plan. While national economies are frequently the focus of attention, trade conflicts like these disproportionately affect border areas. States such as Michigan, New York, and Washington rely substantially on cross-border commerce with Canada. Agriculture and industrial industries have strong relationships with Canadian suppliers and customers. If Canada imposes retaliatory tariffs, these states may experience layoffs, factory closures, and diminished economic activity. For example, Michigan alone sent over $23 billion worth of commodities to Canada last year. With Canada targeting American-made autos and parts, the repercussions may damage local economies that rely on these businesses. Canada is the greatest foreign oil and gas provider to the United States. Beyond tariffs, some analysts believe Canada might use energy as a negotiating tool in the issue. Natural gas pipelines, energy exports, and oil shipments all provide vital services to regions of the United States, particularly in the north. While Canada has not officially threatened energy limitations, the mere prospect may send shockwaves through energy markets, resulting in price increases and shortages. This would increase pressure on the United States to conclude the trade conflict swiftly. Disruptions in energy supply may even have an impact on consumer confidence and inflation, causing a ripple effect across the economy. Canada is not operating alone in this trade dispute. It is seeking support from international trade bodies, such as the World Trade Organization, WTO, by presenting the US tariffs as breaches of trade accords. Canada wants to raise worldwide opposition to American trade policy. This technique is more than simply symbolic. If Canada successfully pursues the matter to the WTO and prevails, it may apply severe sanctions with international support This would isolate the United States diplomatically and may lead to similar steps by other countries, further straining its global economic links. Aside from retaliation, this issue raises concerns about the future of commerce in North America. Could Canada and Mexico enhance their economic relationships as a counterbalance to the United States? Both countries have faced tariff threats from Washington in recent years, and their shared experience may push them toward closer collaboration. A stronger Canada-Mexico trade partnership might minimize dependency on the United States and open up new avenues for economic growth outside of US influence. This would mark a dramatic shift in the dynamics of North American commerce, posing new challenges for the United States as it seeks to preserve its dominant position in the region. So far, US officials have played off Canada's ambitions, but behind the scenes, there is dissent. Retaliatory tariffs might spark retaliation, exacerbating the conflict. However, the United States recognizes that it cannot afford to entirely alienate Canada. Canada, as its greatest economic partner and crucial ally, is too essential to ignore. This careful balancing act will influence the subsequent phases in this high-stakes clash. The next several weeks will be key. Canada is drafting its retaliatory strategy, and the United States must decide whether to escalate or back down. For the time being, the future is unknown, but one thing is apparent. This is not simply another trade battle. This is a watershed moment in US-Canada relations, with ramifications that will be felt well beyond the borders. Canada's discreet measures behind the scenes have paved the way for one of the most important economic confrontations in recent memory, as the two countries prepare for what might become a full-fledged trade war. The stakes for companies, workers, and governments could not be greater.